Hi, and welcome back. And as I was saying, we've got Franco Prio in the studio from, Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning. How are you, Franco?
I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
Very good. Franco, carpets, they're a mixture of artificial fibres, wool fibres, blends all over the place. And the reason I got you in is we often hear the stories of people saying, look, I got this carpet and it's not cleaning properly and I've got a professional in to do the job. You've been in the industry for how many years now?
29 years. Yeah,
29 years.
Yep.
You run all the training courses as well and get up there and talk to people. Franco, what are you experiencing at the moment with people going out there and saying they're a carpet cleaner?
Well, there's carpet cleaners and there's carpet cleaners.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no barrier to getting into the industry, and that's where a lot of the problem lies. So people can go buy themselves a machine, whatever machine that might be, throw it into the back of a ute or a van, whatever, and a bucket of detergent, and away they go. They're a professional carpet cleaner. What they know about carpets, you could fit on the head of a pin in a lot of cases, and they really don't understand the fact that yes, whilst it is, you're cleaning using water and detergent, there's a lot of different physical parameters between the different types of fibres, the different types of carpet constructions, and the same applies also to upholstery as well. And you have to look at the interactions of those, their physical abilities and their chemical capacities, and then create a cleaning program from that. It's not a one size fits all. It's not like you just get some clothes thrown into a washing machine, hit the button and away you walk, hang them out to dry and job done. Carpets are requiring much more specialised knowledge as well as equipment and treatment, and no two carpets are the same, and you can't approach everyone as being the same.
No. And we were talking off air about one of the story you've just recently experienced. I thought it was a good story to reiterate, because for us that aren't experts and don't perhaps have that knowledge, it can highlight some of the things so we can recognise a professional when they've walked in the room, as compared to, well, if I just went and hired the machine and decided to give it a go.
Look, that's a bit of a difficult one for the general layperson to be able to get someone in. I mean, once people start advertising, they're assumed to be a professional in the industry, and as I said, that's not necessarily the case. But you really need to look at what sort of experience they have within the industry. Have they had any training that they can back that up with, that they can actually show you what they've done and what they've learned?
Yeah.
Because, as I said, someone just walking in off the street can become a carpet cleaner, and at the moment there's an absolute wealth of that kind of person out there, that kind of business. Problem being, a lot of people have unfortunately lost jobs.
Yes.
And so what do? We need to get money quickly. Well, let's go clean carpets. That's easy. As I said, bucket of detergent, machine, and away you go. But that can tend to go towards damage, and then that's where people like me then have to step in. And what starts off as a nice cheap job with these guys, for instance, I went to one last week that was $65 that they charged for the job, and the client still had an issue, a fairly significant issue, and she tried to do a warranty claim with the manufacturer, and the manufacturer actually sent me out on that one. Had a look at it, and it wasn't a problem with the carpet at all. The carpet was performing as it was supposed to. It hadn't been cleaned properly. The actual problem hadn't been dealt with properly.
Now, this is one of those carpets, because we were talking off air, this is one of those carpets that were pet friendly or pet proof carpet, as they advertised.
That's right.
And she'd had some, the animal, whatever it was, dog or cat, whatever, had urine on the carpet, and she still had some odour. She called you in. Can you just tell us what actually happened there? Because I'm sure I'd probably be guilty of the same thing.
And look, as I said, for a general layperson, she got this guy in on a recommendation from other people in her area through a Facebook page, I believe it was. He's come in and he's cleaned the carpet, and because this carpet is pet friendly as far as that goes, it cleans up relatively easily. So the mark's gone.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't actually see any physical marking on the carpet, but the smell. That's a different kettle of fish, and that's what this lady was concerned about, and that's why she assumed that the carpet wasn't performing as per what it should be. But then, as I explained to her, that urine has this tendency to not just stay in those face fibres, which this fellow had treated.
Yeah.
It's gone through to the back of the carpet, and it's gone through into the underlay, and then potentially into the concrete floor below it as well. And that's where the odour issue was coming from.
And this is where you always tell us about liquid and gravity.
Yes.
It has an effect to draw downwards.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Yeah, the same as it keeps us firmly rooted on the ground. Anything that hits the carpet, it's going to go into the carpet, to the bottom of the carpet, and in this case, through the carpet, because with the Euron, there's a fair volume of liquid involved, and of course, it's going to soak the back of the carpet. So because he's come in and treated those face fibres, the backing and all the underlay and everything underneath was still being affected. So we have to access that somehow.
Yeah.
And that's where the specialist knowledge, specialist chemicals, and specialist equipment has to step into the picture.
Because I think one of the things that we're talking about just off air is as soon as you saw it was $65, you realise that wouldn't even have covered the chemical
No,
costs.
that's right, yeah. And as I said, I'd asked to see the receipt to see potentially who might have done the job. If I'd known the person, I would be able to discuss it further with them. But then I saw the receipt, I saw $65, and as you said, fairly enough, that would barely, if at all, cover the chemical costs, let alone the actual labour costs involved in treating a spot, and she had more than one spot.
Yeah.
And so $65 just wasn't going to cut it.
Wasn't going there.
Well, yeah, as I said, he's cleaned the carpet, and the carpet looked fine. Okay, there wasn't an issue. It was brand new carpet. It was only a few months old, so there was no dirt on the carpet. And all he did was clean the markings off the carpet, and with those the called triexta fibres, they clean up really, really easily. The Euron doesn't penetrate into the fibres; it cleans off it relatively straightforwardly. But underneath the carpet,
different story.
Different story, and that's where the knowledge and the training has to come to the fore. Because once again, it's not a case of just going in a deodorizer and going splat, leave it on there, and magically it's going to work. You know, there's biodegradable matter there, and that's what's creating the smell. That has to be dealt with and extracted somehow.
Fantastic.
And
And you were saying then, because obviously like I would, and I'm sure I'd be the same concern, she then started saying to you, well, if it's gone through the carpet, now it's in the floor, do I have to pull the carpet up now to clean it?
yeah, look, once upon a time that was the case. Okay, but now, depending on how bad it is, we do have tools that are subsurface extractors, so we need to be able to get a product down into there to neutralise the odour and reduce the actual food source, because there's a bacterial breakdown that's creating that odour. And so organic matter there from the Euron, there's proteins in there as well. That the bacteria will feed off, and that's what creates your smell.
Right.
So we got stuff that can neutralise that and then flush that out with a subsurface extractor that we can actually put onto it and draw it out right from the concrete flooring or wooden flooring, whatever the case may be, up out of the carpet.
Wow.
Okay, so as I said, it's not just your normal equipment, it is more specialised equipment. But an experienced operator, a trained operator, will have that sort of gear on board, the knowledge of how to deal with it, and the ability to get that problem rectified.
It's amazing when I talk to you that we think this world of carpet, and then it's not just knowing what it is to know what chemicals to use on it, because we talked about the damage that can happen if you use the wrong stuff. But now there's all this new specialised equipment coming out to actually deal with specific issues that, well, once upon a time couldn't be dealt with in that manner.
No, that's right. And look, the things are changing all the time. We're getting new constructions, we're getting new fibre types and different blends coming into it. And as I said, we need to keep on top of that as well. I mean, just because you've had your training, you did your training 10 years ago, doesn't mean that everything you learned 10 years ago applies to today, because things have changed and we need to change with it. Okay, so there's the one certain fibre that, whilst it cleans up really, really easily, it also has a serious, huge problem with something called wickback. And if you don't understand that and you haven't learnt about it, you'll get caught out in it. Okay, I mean, I've been called to quite a few of those jobs where I had to go in and fix up those issues that someone who had done it you know, as a way they'd been trained 10 years ago, but it just didn't transfer over into that carpet as being the appropriate method.
What's the damage it can do to it?
In that case, it's not so much damage, it's more of a visual thing, and it looks terrible.
So you get like a burning or a mark left.
It's a mark, the dark patches that are left all over the carpet. It just it looks like it hasn't cleaned. In fact, quite often it'll look worse than before it was clean. But yeah, I mean, there are ways to overcome that, but you have to understand the physical properties of the carpet to be able to get around that problem. And that's where ongoing training is really good.
Ongoing training. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back with more from Franco from Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning, and see what else we can discover and uncover in the world of carpets.
No problem.
Well, we're talking with Franco from Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning, and a lot of us, and I suppose one of the questions that comes up is, how do we know the person is qualified or has done the right training so that my carpet, as in some cases, doesn't look worse afterwards than when it first started?
Yeah, unfortunately, that is a common problem, and I have had to go chasing after a few carpet cleaners in inverted commas who have actually created a more issue than there was to start with.
Like the YouTube warriors.
The YouTube warriors, yeah. I mean, some of them have done their training, if you want to put it that way, or gathered some information on YouTube, and that's not always the most accurate, because I mean, YouTube is basically opinions, more than facts. Okay, so you've got to be really careful about what you get from there. I mean, a lot of my customers actually have done the old research, try to do it themselves, and they'll have to go and fix up.
Then go and fix it up.
Bicarb on wool, please don't do it. Okay, but I mean, when it comes to the credentials of people who you are trying to get into your home and dealing with what is a really valuable asset, I mean, carpets aren't cheap, let's face it.
No.
And not done properly, they can also lead to health issues. It's not just a visual problem, it's a health problem as well. Okay, so you need to find someone who understands the carpet, as we discussed before, and what needs to be done with it. And that's going to come through having done some form of training. Okay, and as I said, there are training bodies within Australia. There's, say in Queensland, there's Nation Training, there's Genodico, there's a couple of other little bodies around the place on the East Coast. Over here, I run PRIO training. And so people come through me, and I do training for them, and they get a certification. Okay, now if you're going to have these people come to your home, it's a really good idea to find out if they have done any of that training. Okay, and they can prove it, because there's a lot of guys also running around saying, yes, we've got this training and we can do it, no problems at all, because they're saying anything they can to get a job because they're desperate for money. I mean, that's understandable. There's a lot of people who are, and they need to get the cash somehow, and they need that job. They'll say what's necessary to get that job. But one really good way to find out, and this is a surefire guarantee to be able to get the right person, there's the Carpet Cleaning Association of WA.
Right.
Okay, and anybody who has full training and full credentials is listed on the Carpet Cleaning Association of WA webpage. So you can go there and you can be pretty well certain that the person you get from that has got those credentials. They can back it up with their certifications, they can back it up with knowledge, and you can ask the processes that they're going to go through. There is an Australian standard, and an Australian standard states the processes you are supposed to go through. Okay, that is what we are supposed to go by. Okay, but the majority of people don't, especially those without training. I mean, one of the first things you're supposed to do is pre-vacuum the carpet. Some of them don't even own a vacuum cleaner, and that's, in all seriousness, I've looked at the back of some of their vehicles and gone, oh my God. I mean, the one that he came and did some training with me, which is great. But when he started, he had a machine, he had a reel of hose, or not even a reel, it was just a massive hose sitting in the back, and a bucket of detergent, and that was his whole setup.
Wow.
And that was it. And it's like, if you take a look at my truck, I've got a truck that's completely full to the brim to overflowing, because the rest of it's sitting in my workshop. And that's what I take about with me every day for my everyday jobs. But he was trying to work with this, and I showed him what he needed to be doing, and it left him quaking at the knees a little bit, thinking, what have I done in the past? But he was ignorant up until that point. But he was smart enough to go and find out.
Well, I suppose that's one thing that he, at least, and I like people like that, they start off, they may not understand probably what they're getting into, it just sounds like an easy go, but at least he's discovered someone like you and gone, okay, I'll see what I should know, and go, and then
Oh, look, I remember when I did my first training, I've been in the industry for 6 years, there hadn't been any training available back then.
Right.
But as soon as there was something available, I was first man in. I was one of the first caps off the rank in Perth to actually get some training, and I walked out of that training session going, oh my God, what have I been doing? How many carpets have I ruined? Unintentionally, I thought I was doing the right thing, because I'd always ask questions, but I asked questions of salespeople who were trying to sell me product.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, I got some knowledge, but not really what I needed to know, and the training helped me to differentiate the good from the bad, and what I needed to be looking for and what I should be putting to the side.
So when they come to your house, Franco, do they actually have a booklet with certificates in, or a membership card?
Look, some will, but as I said, the association does have a website, and each person in each area is listed. So you'll see their name and their business name, and it will have an actual page with all their specialities, all their certifications,
Wow.
everything they've done, their history essentially.
Yeah.
And that way you know for sure that that person's going to come in with the right qualifications.
Because we talked last time that you came into the studio before this particular show about restoration work, and you were quick to point out that that is a specialist field all to itself. So
Correct.
someone coming in to say, well, I do restoration work, well, they better know what they're doing, because that water damage, and we're talking about when floods have happened, and it just goes everywhere.
Yes.
And like down the walls, under the carpets, can travel for a lot further than the actual stain you're seeing.
Well, that's right. I mean, it does go a lot further, a heck of a lot further. Sometimes you'll see a little puddle in the corner there, but that little puddle, instead of being just a 50 centimetre patch, will actually cover 2 square metres beyond it.
Wow.
So what you're seeing, remember, once again, it's the gravity thing.
Yeah.
The gravity has this effect, it sucks it down and it goes across the floor.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing at the top is a super saturated area, but then the rest of it underneath is still saturated, it's just not visible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the sort of thing that needs to be dealt with, and a restoration expert will be able to find those areas. I mean, sometimes they'll be up in walls, they'll be in cavities, they'll be in furniture, they'll be everywhere. The moisture does penetrate quite significantly.
So carpet cleaners themselves, and look, they're probably like you, they set off, they think they're doing the right thing, they've got a little bit of knowledge, but they might have just seen this now and gone, oh, training.
Yes.
Then they're going, hey, I want to actually do the right thing. They're not out there deliberately trying to do the wrong thing, I don't think. Most 99.9% of people, I think, just want to do the right thing. But they say, how do they get in contact with you to do the PREO training?
Well, once again, there's a website. I have a PREO training website, so it's PREO training, all one word, .com.au. You will find the information there about the training courses that I can hold. I prefer to do one-on-one training. So most of the other bodies that do come over from time to time from the eastern states, they'll do group training,
Yes.
which is great. That's
Yep.
that's no problem with that. But that just gives you a theory rundown.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of practical with it. Now, I believe in competence-based training so that you get the theory, but then you also learn how to apply it, which is why I prefer doing it one-on-one. They got questions, it's very personalised. I look
Yeah.
at their equipment, their setup. We actually go out on jobs as well and put the theory into practice. So we learn the theory first and then go out and do the practice sessions so that I can actually see that they have understood what they've learned and know how to put it into practice before I give them the certification. So it's not just a tick and flick exam.
Yeah.
They have to pass verbal examinations, they have to pass a written examination, and they also have to pass a physical examination as well on the job.
Well, that's going to give you a huge amount of confidence when you actually go out to do your work from then. And I will say, you know, it is a profession. It's a great
Absolutely.
profession, and you can do really, really well at it. Have really loyal clients as yourself, and I think training is really, really valuable. We're going to take a break. I'm going to come back, and I've got just a couple more questions for Franco. Since I've got him in the studio, I'm not going to let him
Let's
go.
go.
And so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Well, we're in the studio with Franco PREO from Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning, and we've talked about one of those examples where, you know, maybe a horror story we've all had. We've had someone come in, hasn't quite done the job properly, and probably no fault of their own. They don't quite understand, haven't done the training. So we talked a little bit about training, and look, if you're a carpet cleaner and you're looking at getting some training upskill, you know, because it is your business, then yeah, contact PREO Training. And it's interesting because the level you're at, Franco, I just want people to just get this. You're the person they call in when they can't fix the problem.
Correct.
And that's a very unique position to be in Western Australia. Is there's a lot of carpet issues out there, and look, carpet costs a fortune. We've just built and we just carpeted our house, so
You're well experienced in that, yeah.
yeah. So it is a valuable asset to look after, and so these issues that come up that other people can't fix. You know, tell us a bit about some of these stories that happened to you.
Okay, well, there's quite a few instances of that where a carpet cleaner hasn't had the skills, even sometimes after training, they haven't had the necessary skills to be able to deal with a problem.
I suppose life experience as well comes in. I mean, you've been
Oh, yeah.
20-something years doing this.
Only 29.
Only 29. Started when I was 10.
I wish.
Yeah. So you can't buy experience, unfortunately.
No, that's right.
So even with all the training. So yeah.
So with me, I've developed my skills over the years, which is one of the reasons why I started training. Is I knew that there's a gap in the marketplace, and I could see that the people who needed it but that need wasn't being met. So that's why I've placed myself in that training sphere and in the way that I've done it, which is that little bit different.
Yeah.
But still, having said that, you'll get those instances where people just can't deal with a particular situation for whatever reason that might be. Okay, now with myself having had that experience, there's not a lot I haven't seen yet. I still get the occasional surprise. That's the polite way of putting it.
Yeah.
But then I'll be able to go in and have a look at any particular situation on the carpet and say, listen, this is what we can do, and this is what can't be done. Okay, and that's where some of the manufacturers use my skills as well. They'll call me in if there's an issue and see if I can actually rectify that issue before they go ahead and replace it.
Right.
So I can write up reports. It's another one of the things I do. Another hat I wear, I'm a WoolSafe registered inspector.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So I can go in and I can do actual chemical and physical testing. So it's
Right.
a bit, I've been described as the Mr. Forensics.
Yeah.
It's not quite that depth, but I can actually go, I've got a little mini lab at home and I can do identification of problems on carpets, and then from there be able to once again develop a plan to either deal with it,
Yep.
or give advice on it, or find out what has happened to it, and then deal with something in the environment that might be creating the issue rather than the person creating the issue. Because there's all sorts of things that come into it. Okay?
Yes.
It could be a location near the beach. You know, we have problems that are associated with that. A location in the hills, we've got particular problems with that. And so a location in the city has another set of problems altogether. The daycare centre has a set of problems compared to an aged care centre.
You just said problems associated with being near the beach. What problems associated with being near the ocean?
Salt.
It's salt, is it?
Ozone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got those two there that are two big issues as
Right.
far as that goes. Can certainly affect carpets in all sorts of weird and wonderful ways, and furnishings. UV light as well. A lot of people that are near the beach, well, they're near the beach for a really good reason. They've got
Yeah.
a great view, so we've got a lot of sunlight coming in. Okay, so there's all those sorts of things. And those sorts of things need to be factored in. Something as simple as having a pool next door to a room that instead of being a saltwater pool is a chlorine pool. Okay, I've had issues with that where the chlorine was actually causing fading off of carpets.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So it's stuff other than what's in the room. You've got to look at the general environment
Yeah.
and the history of the carpet to find out exactly what might have had.
So it's
go
a
wrong with it.
real, from your point of view, when you go in, they call you in because you do the investigation.
Yeah.
And it's not just look at the actual spot, it's hold on, I've got to actually look at everything surrounding it.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we approach that on every job that we do. I mean, even with my employee Carl, when he goes out to do a job, he considers the carpet, but he has to consider what's going on around him first. We do a pre-inspection of everything, okay, before we actually start. Because otherwise, you'll deal with that problem today. Tomorrow it might be back again because something else is creating the issue. So
Yeah.
we need to solve that as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one of the things that really does differentiate a professional carpet cleaner from a not so professional carpet cleaner. Okay, that
Yeah.
sort of stuff needs to be taken into consideration. Environment's got a lot to do with what you're dealing with.
Is this why manufacturers get you in, Franco? Because they know you're not just going to look at the car and say, oh, well, it's got a stain. You do take all these other factors
Absolutely,
into consideration.
absolutely. Look, I had a particular one that actually I got caught in was a general cleaner who had an issue with carpets. Supposedly had an issue with carpets. He called me in because his staff had been accused of putting bleach onto carpet and causing fading. Or actually, these carpet cleaning chemicals, I should say, had caused some fading because he was doing some carpet cleaning in there as well. So anyway, I've gone in. He said, look, there's no way possibly that this could have happened, and I don't know how to prove it. Can you do something about it? So I've gone in, taken samples away, done some testing, and actually managed to narrow down exactly what had created the problem and how it had been created.
Wow.
Which was not within his scope of works whatsoever. So he was then able to go back with my report and prove that he actually hadn't done it. And those spots that were there had been created by someone else who wasn't readily coming forward with information that then were forced into the situation where they had to. So the problem was resolved for him.
So without giving away the person, obviously, and any detail,
Yeah.
you know, what was it that was causing the problem in this instance?
In this particular instance, there were two things that had happened. Actually, there were three things that had happened. Number one was that someone had used a sodium hypochlorite bleach, which is a carpet cleaner you don't touch in the slightest.
Right.
Okay. Because it creates damage, and the wool carpet it actually degrades the fibre to the point where it dissolves completely and vanishes. Bye bye carpet.
Oh,
okay,
all right.
or at the very least, just chemically burns it, and
Yeah.
the fibre
Finish
is is ruined.
Mm.
With an acid dyed nylon, it'll strip the colour out and it turns the fibre yellow. So they're really good giveaway signs. But through
Yeah.
chemical testing, I can actually narrow down to the exact type of that product that had been used on it.
Right.
Okay, so that tested positive for your household bleach with someone who actually, what had happened in that case, they've been spraying a door, God knows why, but they'd sprayed a door. You could actually see the shape of the door and see the spray pattern, which I was able to prove, and then figure out that there was actually bleach on the carpet and there was bleach on the door. You could just see someone had been standing there going spray, 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 and the overspray had hit the carpet.
So might have sprayed the door like to clean it.
To clean it.
Deep.
Yeah, they were thinking they were doing a great job of cleaning the door. But the
Yeah.
the other issues they had was in other rooms there were discoloured patches, and in those patches, in some of them they've used a high alkaline chemical, which once again on an acid dyed nylon, if you use high alkalinity, it will strip the acid dyes out.
Wow.
Okay, and so it ended up with a bleached area. And in another area, or in another room, there's a couple of patches in there where someone had cleverly decided to disguise it by colouring it in themselves. Badly. So there was a threefold, but he was being blamed
You know,
for
when
the
I
whole
was
lot.
an apprentice, I'm laughing. When I was an apprentice, if I'd done that, I probably got the text around. The boss see this.
Oh yeah, look, I have come across it quite a few times, and it's been quite amusing at times because the colour they tried to use has been completely inappropriate, shall we say? And it kind of stands out.
Colouring in your carpet for therapy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, join the dots. Yeah.
Goodness me, I don't know. But it's your world of I call it the world of carpet because it is just this fascinating world that just opens right up. The more you learn about it, the more complex and the more it's like, how do you deal with it? I mean, there's so many new carpets coming to the market every single day. Is it a matter that even like for yourselves, it's just understanding from the manufacturers what they've got and then learning about it?
Yeah, well, to a fair degree, there's a few different channels. I've belong to a couple of different professional groups, and so there are discussions happening all the time within that.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the ones that came up just a couple of weeks ago was it was a wool and rayon blend carpet, and it was actually been put out in one of these homestyle shows that has been the most wonderful feeling carpet, and it's beautifully hard wearing and all the rest of it, which is true. But from a cleaning aspect, or even an accident aspect involving liquids, it's not a really great carpet at all in that regard.
Yeah.
It is hard wearing, absolutely. Yeah. It feels glorious underfoot. If you walk over it barefoot, it's like walking on a cloud. It feels absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
But put water on it and you've got a massive problem. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just from water.
Just from water. I had one a couple of weeks ago that it was a $30,000 for one room carpet, bespoke carpet, custom made for that client. Left the window open, rain got in, and instant trouble. Now I had to go in, I got about a 95% rectification on that, but this client, understandably, was very, very upset. She paid a lot of money for this carpet and it wasn't performing to what she was expecting.
Yeah.
No one had told her that you can't get it wet. So of course she was not real happy.
Not real happy.
But I managed to deal with it and managed to settle her down and get things going in the right direction for her again. And then, understood there are ways to deal with it. There are other things that we can have available to us for her maintenance purposes. But now she's at least aware of it, and the manufacturer, unbeknownst to me, had been told about what was going on as well, because I was dealing with the actual supplier, not the manufacturer who came from overseas.
Yeah.
They actually phoned me up in gratitude 2 days after, saying thank you so much because you just saved us a hell of a lot of money for a very, very small cost in comparison.
Wow.
That was great because everybody got something out of that.
Yeah.
Okay, they didn't lose their money. The supplier saved face. The customer was happy and educated, and everybody had learned a huge lesson out of it.
Yeah.
So it was a positive outcome
Positive outcomes.
in the end for something that could have been rather tragic.
Positive outcomes in the world of carpets with Franco Peel from Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning. Someone listening is obviously going, I got a problem. How do they contact you, Franco?
Telephone is a really great way, 0418 914 097. Failing that, you can actually get me on the email, which is info@facc.com.au. So it's just simply the initials of Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning.
Yeah.
Or just Google Fresh Air Carpet Cleaning. You'll find us on Facebook as well, along with a lot of examples of our work.
Fantastic.
Some interesting little jobs that have been done on that one as well. So yeah, those are the main three mediums that you can get me through, and I'll happily have a chat with someone.
Fantastic. And yes, we will be getting Franco back into the studio for more talks on carpets coming up. Stay tuned, we've got much more coming up on 101 Business Radio and Television.